أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام عليك يا رسول الله. This is a podcast of the Deen of an Old Woman. As you know, in every podcast I reflect on our inner being, on our state of mind, on our consciousness, on our perspective, on our outlook on life. So I'm forever preoccupied with that, because once we have this, the very system, the foundation correct, things will also become correct in our lives. But when that is damaged or deformed or disabled, or by misinformation, or by us doing wrong thing consciously, when we harm that, then our perspective to life is also harmed and is not holistic. So, I just want to say that today the epidemic of mental health is increasing day by day. It's never going down, because when you compare the figures, the statistics, say 20 years ago, 40 years ago, 50 years ago, it shows that the mental health has reached its epidemic state. And, the statistics tell us that there are 5 suicides committed every day. Can you imagine how much mental health has destroyed people, that eventually they want to take their own life? And mental health does not discriminate race, class, gender, or age. It just can affect anybody, anywhere, anyhow. And sometimes there comes a period in our life when we are very low. But in order not to spiral into mental health, Allah has shown us how we can protect ourselves. And believe you me, medication has its place. I'm not belittling, this modern medical system, but it doesn't completely help us. So the surety and the thing that's guaranteed to help is Allah, who is the creator of heaven and earth, who created us and know how we function. Allah knows what our needs and what our wants are. Allah knows when we are in difficulty, when we're in distress. Allah knows what our condition is, what our state of mind is. Allah is closer to us than our jugular vein. Can you imagine? There's sometimes things even we don't know what's inside us. Allah knows what's inside us. And subhanallah, I think there's a beautiful hadith that the Prophet ﷺ said that Allah knows everything, even if it's in the depth of a well or a stone, and inside a stone there's a little ant. Allah even gives sustenance to that little ant. So Allah will take care of us, providing we reach out to Him. Now, what does Islam say about this? Well, Allah tells us that this is not a world that is perfect, and that all of us have experienced anxiety, depression, sadness, and negative thought. But Islam does shed lights on how to deal with this negative emotion and how to help ourselves. Ultimately, it's us that unless we do something about ourselves, no one's going to do it. So we have to take the first step and to try to seek help or try to do something about it. And we know that even the prophets went through difficult time, but Allah has shown us that in the end they became victorious, that they were cured, or they achieved obviously best in this life and in Akhirah. Allah tells us about Yaqub alayhi salam, which was Yusuf alayhi salam's father, that he experienced sadness, because when his son was taken away from him, Yusuf Islam, he became very sad. But look, subhanallah, look how he dealt with that grief, with that sadness by being disconnected from losing his son, he said he was patient. And he called the patient beautiful, Sabr Jamil, that I will practice beautiful patience. And this is the key. This is the form of healing. That when we go through troubled times, and it's not in our control, we are patient and we approach Allah and we supplicate to Him. And especially the Quran, which is called healing. We read the Quran, we try to reflect and ponder upon it. It will heal us. Just the way, Yaqub alayhi salam became patient, and Allah helped him by making his son return back to him, even if it's after decades. We mustn't be impatient. When Allah inflicts us with difficulty, we have to be patient. There's also a story of Hazrat Maryam alayhi salam, who was the mother of Jesus, Isa alayhi salam, and that she also went hardship. When she was giving birth, it was so difficult for her that she cried out, "Oh, I wish I was thing not remembered." She went through hardship as well, but ultimately, look how Allah honored her, that after 2,000 years, there are thousands and billions of people around the world who admire her and adore her. Even our own Prophet, peace be on him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, went through sadness when he's lost his wife, when he's lost his uncle, and he called that year of grief. But he dealt with it through patience and reliance and dependence on Allah. When we rely on Allah for any difficulty we're going through our life, Allah will surely help us and protect us and save us. So what can we do to help ourselves when we're going through hardship or a sort of a mental disturbance or mental issues? We all have them now and then. And what should we do about it? We have, sometimes we go through anxiety, depression, stress, when we're feeling low, when we're down. Well, let's just look at just five points that we can, what we can do when we, in that time, when we are low, when we are at lowest point. Obviously, the first main things is connection with Allah. And that is the first thing that we have to do. That is an excellent thing to prevent any form of mental health, stress, anxiety, disbalance, depression, anything. Even, would you believe it, even insomnia. When we can't sleep, Allah will help us do dhikr at that time. And believe you me, sleep will come. Sleep will come. So if any of you out there who are suffering from lack of insomnia, or when you can't sleep, when you lack sleep, just do ablution and do dhikr, and gradually Allah will help you to fall asleep. So we have to have the certainty that when we connect with Allah, that Allah is the one who's protecting us, Allah is the one who's taking care of us, and that we're never alone. Do it makes a huge difference when you feel that Allah is with you at all time and that you're protected, you feel safe. The place you live in, you start to move into a safe space, a safe space, in this mind space as well. Because we have connected with Allah, and Allah gives us that feeling of warmth and safety. And subhanallah, we know that lots of time we go to difficulty, but we should never despair. We should know Allah is always there. So let's look at the 5 points. I said, number 1, they say deep breathing helps. But subhanallah, with that breathing, I want you to remember Allah. So when you breathe deeply and hold. And then when you hold, remember Allah, then exhale. Research has shown that breathing helps anxiety. So you focus. Don't forget that this breathing, which is life. When we have life, we breathe, and this life is breathed into us by Allah. So when you're concentrating on breath, remember who put that breath. Allah blew His Spirit in you and I. So that's the best way to remember Allah. So you concentrate on your breathing, and at the same time you're remembering Allah as well. The second thing is the salah, which is another remedy. Did you know that salah is it's a activity that is good for the body and the mind, and it creates a balance between those two entities. It gives us focus and grounding. It anchors us. It takes us away from all these difficulties and hardship and environment that are noisy and that troublesome and agitation. When you stand on the prayer mat, peace envelopes you. So you focus on the one true being, Allah, who is the creator of heaven and earth. And that's in time of connection with Allah. So the second thing is salah. The third thing we can do help us in our mental anxieties and trouble is to read the Quran. As you know, the Quran is called healing for every sickness or for every ailment, whether it's psychological, whether it's mental, whether it's spiritual, whether it's social, whether it's physical. Quran is a healing for human being. So how wonderful is that? And all Muslims, we have Quran at home. Just get up and open it. And you can even open it at random to see what message Allah is giving it to you. How wonderful. Can you imagine this magnificent entity who created this amazing universe with amazing galaxy and amazing stars and amazing, unknown realm. Even, scientists tell us that we only see like 10 or 20% of, we have perception of the world, and the rest we can't even see. Can you imagine Allah communicating with us through His book? So don't delay it. Go to the Quran. Go to the Quran. Heal yourself. Open the Quran and see what message Allah has given you. Look how quick we are to look at on a WhatsApp to see what message so-and-so gave, which are useless and are ineffective. There isn't much benefit in it. It's just a part-time, passing time sort of thing. But go and open the Quran. And that is such a deep, significant, it affects your inner being deeply when we do that. So the third thing is the Quran, yeah? So the first was breathing, the second was salah, the third is the Quran. The fourth one, would you believe it? You're really going to smile when you hear that. The fourth remedy to our anxieties, our bad mood, our negative thoughts, our mental health is, listen to this, smiling. Yes, you heard me right, it's smiling. Research has shown that when we smile, dopamine chemical is released in the brain that aids and nourishes happy mood. Now this is science. And you can go and Google it yourself. And what a strange word, Google, eh? What a strange word. Now it's become so much part of our everyday vocabulary. But in our days, we used to go and look at the books and research. So that's my way of, and I'd recommend that, research in books and find out that, how much this chemical aids us in us having good mood. The Prophet ﷺ said, don't belittle good deeds, even if it's a small deed. And the Prophet ﷺ said that smiling is charity. Can you imagine that we're giving charity every time we smile at somebody? And when we smile, it gives us this, a lovely look. I mean, subhanallah, you stand in front of the mirror and change your facial expression, and you see smiling is the best one. Yeah? Okay, the fifth one is being positive and having gratitude. When we are grateful for the bounties that Allah has given us, wallahi, there's a surah Rahman, Allah said you can't even count them. You can't even count. We can't count how much blessing we have in our health, in our well-being, in our surroundings, in our environment, in our free will, in our work, in socializing, in friends. There's so much gifts that Allah has given us that we have to be positive about and show gratitude. So when we have difficulty, think of the positive. But the devil is very clever. He never wants us any good for us, because it's an open enemy and he always wants to destroy us. It will come and magnify things that are negative in our lives. When we're having difficulty, it keeps us trapped in that. So he'll keep on making us repeat and repeat in our mind, in our thoughts, things that are something bad happened to us or something that's negative. It'll play again and again and again in our mind, so that we don't look at the other benefits, the other gifts that Allah has given us, so we don't have gratitude. Because studies have shown that gratitude eliminates depression. Gratitude helps us out of stress and anxiety. Gratitude uplifts our mood. These are scientific studies that have been done on hundreds of people, and the result is exactly the same. When you have gratitude, when you're grateful to Allah, that helps in our mental health. So the shaitan distracts us from good things that we have in our lives. So when difficulty strikes, concentrate on the blessing of Allah and develop gratitude, because gratitude melts negative like the sun melts the snow. That's how gratitude melts the negative thoughts that we have. Having a good relationship with Allah is the key. And as Allah commanded us to be His Khalifa on earth, to represent Him, which means that we have to be kind, compassionate and forgiving. And research has shown that when we experience this compassion and empathy to others, in essence, we help ourselves. And also research has shown that when we experience pain and a loved one is holding our hand, the pain decreases. Subhanallah, just now I've just come back and I was standing at the bus stop and I saw a young girl dropping a handbag and running after somebody, and I quickly went to her and I realized somebody snatched her mobile. But when I comforted her, when I held her hand, that made a little bit calm. So when the opportunity comes, we must quickly be there and help others. So, subhanallah, the other thing is about having positive thought, having gratitude, is to prioritize our relationship, prioritize and give respect and honor and kindness to our parents, to our elders, and to be compassionate to the neighbors and to those who are younger than us. How beautiful is this theme that it tells us to respect our elders and have mercy for the young ones. How beautiful is that? So these are the 5 points that can help us when we are suffering with mental health. Furthermore, finally, I just want to remind ourselves that Allah tells us when a believer is inflicted with hardship, then their sins are being washed away. The Prophet, peace be on him, said, how fine is the affairs of a believer. When they have good time, they're grateful to Allah. But when their difficulty strikes, they remain patient. And this brings me to the two beautiful verses in Surah Fatiha that we read 19 times a day. Oh Allah, it's only you we worship when we have gratitude. And Allah, it's only you we ask for help when we're going through difficulty in our life. Thank you.